Welcome to Matrimonial Merger, the podcast where Ambry and Jesse, a husband and wife couple, share their insights and experiences on relationships, health, and wealth. With their expertise in business and as neuro-linguistic master practitioners, they provide valuable advice on overcoming challenges and achieving success. Join us for practical tips on navigating the intersection of personal and professional life.
Welcome to the Matrimonial Merger podcast. Coming in hot,
Wow.
Scaring Ambry across the room, hitting record, and she's like, "Wait, we're actually recording right
I
now?"
was not expecting that energy. So
Whoa.
hello.
I know, coming in hot, ready to talk about mastering the art of work-life balance. You know, in this fast-paced world that we live in today, achieving a healthy work-life balance is a challenge. I know it is for us every single day. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and explore the concept of what is a work-life balance and provide you with ideas, examples, and solutions that will help you navigate this essential aspect of your life.
Let's do it.
I totally just read that.
What are you reading from?
I don't know. I'm just teasing. Anyways, I'm excited to talk about this because achieving work-life balance, like, what is that? And I think that for you and I, as we dived in and talked about this a little bit before the show, I mean, really, work-life balance is different for everyone.
Yeah. And it's different even in different phases of life for,
Yeah.
any particular individual, couple, family, and whatever.
Well, and like, it really depends on what you enjoy and what you consider work, right? Like, for me, work is so much fun. So, like, I want to be involved in it. I want to learn how to progress and make things better all the time. So when you're like, oh, you need more work-life balance, it's like, no, I want more work. Like, I want more opportunities to scale and grow and to work on the business instead of in it, right? And so I think it's different for everyone based off of what you truly enjoy.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree. And recognizing that between your professional commitments and your personal life, ensuring that one doesn't necessarily overshadow the other, but that you have like a good management, like managing your time and energy effectively so that you're fulfilled in both, right?
Yeah.
And whether that means like, I guess I don't mean overshadow, like they're both going to be exactly equal, right? But just figuring out what your desires and priorities are for each, and then, focusing on both.
Yeah, getting specific. I personally, when I think of the word balance, it doesn't have a negative, like, it's not a negative filter that I associate with, but I also kind of chuckle at that idea.
Yeah.
Because everyone sits there and's like, all right, let's be balanced. My mom, like, I love her to death, and she'd always tell me, Jesse, you need to be more balanced. And I'm like, Mom, but I like this. I love basketball. So
well,
I
it
want
means
to spend
something different to, like you said, to
Right.
everyone. So
right. And balance to me is like, how can I spend more time playing basketball? Right. And then everything else I'll just execute and make quicker. I mean, a funny story, like here's an example. Like, when we were first dating, I had to go to work at 2:30 in the morning, and then I'd come home and I'd go to the gym really fast because I wanted to go to the gym. And then I'd fly out the door to go and turn around and do my homework, get out the door, go to school, right? And there were certain times I was living at home and my mom would say, all right, you have dinner. And I was laughing because it's like, dinner's not for like 2 or 3 hours and I'm leaving like for school. How am I supposed to do dinner? And my mom, as loving as she is, she's like, you'll figure it out. So I remember I just grabbed some frozen chicken patties, put some ham and some Swiss cheese on it with some marinara sauce.
I think you've shared this story before on the podcast.
I probably have, but I just
so funny.
left it there. And I was like, hey, it's chicken parmigiana, like, cook it, right? And I did it. But, once again, it was
so stinking funny.
It was so funny. My mom was not very happy about it because she didn't feel that was the best quality dinner. Especially because she knows that I'm a very good cook.
She's like, you took frozen chicken out of the fridge and put slices of cheese on top. Like,
right.
I mean, it was resourceful.
Very.
But pretty darn funny. I literally remember that day. That was so funny.
But then we talk about balance and it's like, okay, I get it. I get that I have certain things that I need to fulfill. And in some cases, like, you've got to look at the schedule that you're living, and you have to find either you have to change your schedule, change the feedback. In this case, going to school, I can't just change the schedule. Like, that is a fixed thing on my week, like in my plan. Every single day I had to be at school around 2:30 in the afternoon, 2:30, 4 o'clock, depending on the day. And so cooking dinner became very interesting, unless I planned ahead, which I didn't. But that
Not
was
to mention you knew that like I would want some of your time
exactly
after that.
Oh, and baby, you got it. You got my time, 100%. Clear up until about midnight, and then I'd sleep for 2.5 hours and go back to work.
Man, those are the days.
Yeah, my boss Christy caught me falling asleep putting cinnamon sugar on bagels. Sorry, Christy, if you're listening to this show. Anyways,
that's so funny. So let's talk about, like, for a minute, what can it look like sometimes when you desire, you don't currently have this balance that we're talking about, and what are some of the symptoms of that? What are some of the the situations you can find yourself in if you are not becoming specific about what you want in both aspects of your life so that you can achieve balance? And where I'm going with this is, I think that a lot of times it's this like, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it, but you're swinging between, like, is it pendulum? Is that the word I'm looking for?
I like that
Anyways,
word. Yes.
It's like between your personal commitments and your professional commitments, your personal life, your professional life, whatever it is, like, you're swinging between going all in on both rather than putting your energy equally as it should be or where it needs to be for each. It's like 1 minute you're all in on your professional commitments and you're thriving pretty well. Things are doing pretty good in your professional world. But in the back of your mind, you feel this like pull towards your personal life, and you feel this empty space where you're not doing as much as you would want to do in your personal life. Your relationships are not getting the attention that you would want them to. You're not feeling the fulfillment there that you want to, right? So then you feel this like guilt, this, oh, I'm not doing enough. And then you swing so far in that direction that all of a sudden your professional life and professional commitments are receiving less and less attention and not getting the attention that they need. And so then things start slipping there, and you can feel it. You can see it. You notice it. All of a sudden you're not closing as many deals. You're not putting out as much content, whatever it is, right? There's these signs of neglect there, right? Just like there used to be in your personal life. Now it's swung over into your professional life.
Yeah.
So then you're over here like thriving in your personal life. Meanwhile, your professional commitments are like failing in a sense. So then you go, okay, time to swing back the other direction. And you get burnt out going back and forth, being all in on one or the other, rather than recognizing a balance between both and being able to put in systems and processes that allow you to thrive in both aspects, rather than constantly having to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Why not both, right?
I think one of our coaching clients put it very well. He's like, it's literally a roller coaster ride in my business. Like, I know I need to be working long term to build up leads, but I'm always focusing on the short term. And then 1 month is great, the next month is terrible, and like he keeps flip flopping. And I think the question really comes down to, like, for you know what the problem is when you're living an unbalanced life, when you're not feeling that you're getting the needs of everything. And when we talk balance, we're not talking like perfect, everything has to be 100%. But what we're talking about is you feeling comfortable and excited about your life. Because
feeling like you're thriving in both aspects, whatever that means for you. Like, you feel genuinely good about where you're at in your professional life and in your personal life.
Oh, and my gosh, when you feel that way, it's so much easier to have better inspiration, to put out better, like if you're talking about content, to put out better content, to just be a better husband or mother or whatever you want to say, whatever label you want to put upon yourself. Yeah. You are a better person because you're getting all the things you want. And I think about it, it's like when I'm getting my 6 to 8 hours of sleep and I'm getting to the gym and I'm eating right and business is popping off and everything's going well, I'm like literally walking around the happiest, most chummy guy in the room. Like I am excited.
Yeah.
Whereas the days when I eat like garbage, I don't really pay much attention. In fact, I don't even get dressed really. I'm just putting on the sweats or the shorts and just kind of calling it a lounge day. Like not even close. The energy is not even the same.
Yeah.
And so figuring out like what is it that sets you up for success every single day, right?
Yeah.
And maintaining what is balanced to you to the best of your ability. I read something today that was so interesting. It's that every decision we make literally is like, assume it's like the Pringles commercial. I was telling you about this, but like Pringles used to have this "once you pop, the fun don't stop" slogan. In this book, I believe it's Your Future Self Now, or Be Your Future Self by Benjamin Hardy. Amazing book, by the way, go check it out. But what he talks about is like every time you make a in the moment decision, like you might as well just pop the chip, right?
Yeah.
And once you pop, the fun don't stop, and it's, in the moment, it's going against what your decisions are, right? Like if I know that I want to have a six pack on my body, and in that moment I decide to snack on a piece of fudge at a family event, like once you pop, the fun don't stop, and
Right.
it then starts to throw off what you're working towards in the long run. And so understanding that what it is you want is going to be my number one tip here on this episode is, to maintain that work and that life balance, understand what it is that you're working towards every single day and work towards that. And maybe that plan is a 5 or 10 year plan.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's this year I want to read 12 books and, I want to have a six pack on my body. Well, then get real with what it is and start working at that every single day. If it's truly what you want, then you shouldn't be making the micro moves every single day, not getting lost in the present moment of there's a piece of fudge on the table, I'm going to eat it.
Right. So then, like with the analogy of once you pop, the fun don't stop, like, let's apply that to like the fudge, right? So you eat the piece of fudge, and then essentially what that is saying is like, you're at that point, it's like you might as well have 10 pieces of fudge, right? Or you eat the fudge, and then the next thing that comes along is a cookie, and it's like, well, I already ate the fudge, so I'm going to eat the cookie, right? It's kind of what you're saying.
And it's not just in that moment. Like it's, all right, this week I ate a piece of fudge and, I'm going against what I'm working towards, which is six pack. And then a couple days later, there's some Muddy Buddies sitting on the table, right? And so you pick up a handful of Muddy Buddies. And then, a couple days later, you're like, oh man, like it's the weekend. Let's go get some ice cream. And before you know it, the entire week has been once you pop, the fun don't stop. So it's not necessarily just that moment in the day, but it's when you let go of what you're working towards, like for that pleasurable moment, then that's when things start to go downhill or can lead to downhill, because you're breaking essentially like a commitment to yourself of what you want. And then once you break your word to yourself, what more do you have? Yeah.
So, okay. So you really need to then just define like what it is. I mean, if you're going to allow yourself to indulge here and there, like if we're talking about treats, right? Define what that looks like and know in advance. Have a plan, right?
Right.
So like if you know you're going to want a treat, like it's great. You should, right?
Right.
But this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want. And that's that, rather than having no definition and just kind of being like, oh, well, I ate this and I'm just going to do this. And now I'm going to eat that because it's in front of me. And this same thing with business, right? So if you don't have like a defined purpose or what you're working towards, then little things pop up along the way that distract you. And it's so easy to just like lean into and go after those distractions.
Oh, totally.
Where
you know how many marketing things that you could do?
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. Like there's so many different ways to generate leads.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I like that. So just if you're going to indulge or you're going to allow a distraction, plan it out. Like know when it's going to happen and how much time it's going to take, or how, what it's going to do for or against your plan and move forward rather than just like the domino effect or the Pringle effect of just like throwing your hands up in the air and it is what it is.
Well, and what we're talking about is like, all right, I'm going to be on a diet and for 30 days, I'm going to go strong. And then on day 30, I'm going to have one cheat day and I'm going to have it for an hour and I'm going to be able to eat this. Right. But being very specific on what it is you're doing so that you know that after that moment, you're jumping back in, that was a small reward. It's not a cheat day. It's a reward. It's a reward for doing something that you didn't know if you were capable of doing, or just a reward for being consistent.
And it's what you want.
And
like,
it's what you want.
And I think that's what the most important thing is like, all right, since we're talking about like food, I feel like that's just such an easy and relatable example sometimes, but I think that it's important to have a healthy relationship with food, right? And to not like feel horrible and guilty when you do want to have a treat or whatever, right? But if you know, like, okay, this week or whatever, today, I really want ice cream. I'm going to get some ice cream and this is what kind I want. And it's going to be like such a great experience and you enjoy it and it fulfills that need or that desire. And then you move on. And that's that, right? You got what you wanted, you defined what you wanted, and then you move forward and go back to, you know, the way you normally eat or the way that you want to eat that supports your goals, right? Rather than just kind of being open-ended about everything and every party you go to or every, you know, restaurant you go in, there's always an opportunity for a dessert, right?
Yeah.
If that's what you want, then go for it, of course. But if that's not what you want, then you have to be prepared in advance and know, like, I don't want this distraction. So I'm not going to just pick up that cookie because it's right here, because I know that's going to, you know, whatever.
Totally.
That's going, and same application for personal life, for business, for, you know, any distraction or any.
And recognizing that there is intent behind everything, even the things that are unconscious, right? There is intent. You putting on your makeup may be something that's unconscious for you. You just do it every day, but there is a reason why you do it every single time, right? The first time you made that decision, like, and we have watched our 6-year-old do that. I'm going to put on my makeup, right? She makes that decision. Well, over time, it then is no longer a conscientious decision. She just does it.
Right.
But in the beginning, there was a decision made at 6 years old or 5 years old why she wanted makeup.
Right.
And once again, as we go back to exploring why we do what we do, this is a great example. Like, she made this decision probably between the ages of 3 and 5. Like, I remember she loved makeup when she was a little girl, and she probably watched mom or grandma or someone that she loves very much and made that decision. And now she's 6, that time's moved on, and makeup is just a thing for her. Like, she doesn't conscientiously think about going and applying makeup. She'll just go do it. And she'll tell us, like, hey, mom, dad, I'm going to go put on makeup. But it's not like this conscious decision. It's almost like a habit now. And there are things that we do every single day that have evolved from a decision we've made, like the drinking a energy drink or the, you know, driving our car a certain way. There has been different things that have defined our intent, and there's always a reason behind it, even if it doesn't seem like there is. Right?
Absolutely.
Like, an example, I just saw you looked at your watch, there was an intent behind it. And then determining what that is. So then understanding the balance, going back and looping that in, like understanding that you need to realize what your intent is and why you're doing what you're doing. If you're just grabbing cookies because it's become an unconscious behavior to eat at the party, that was something that I was doing, you need to understand why. And you need to get real with that moment so that you can start to get closer to what you're trying to become or what you're working towards. Couple that with the fact that you need to know, like, what is it that you truly want? Yeah. At the end of the day, what is it you truly want? Do you want a phenomenal relationship with your spouse? And then if the answer is yes, which I hope it is, like, then you're going to design.
You have a spouse, hopefully you want a phenomenal relationship with them.
Then you're going to design what that means for you, not for what that means for her.
Yeah.
What does a phenomenal relationship mean for you? And then you're going to do those things to build that phenomenal relationship.
Yeah.
Likewise, your spouse, hopefully, is saying, what is a phenomenal relationship for me? So I feel fulfilled. and then work on those steps. That way, at the end of the day, both husband and wife, they're with each other saying, we have a phenomenal relationship according to our model of the world, not what I think Ambry's relationship model of the world is, or what Ambry thinks my relationship. It's according to my model of the world. I enjoy having time with my spouse. I enjoy going on dates, going and doing massages, going on vacations. These are things that I love. So I'm going to work towards those things.
Right.
And design the marriage the way that I want it to be. Likewise, you would do the same thing. If you're listening to this show, it's because you're a successful business owner or you're striving to become more successful. But guess what? Anytime you've experienced new success, it has brought new challenges. It's time for a change. Check out the Business Liberation System. It's the key to regaining focus and working on your business, not just in it. You see, as you experience more and more success, that success is bringing new things into your business that's taking away from your concentration. And it's costing you money. You're slowly going from CEO back to an employee. And don't let that catch you. It's time for you to recognize these things and get back on the track of becoming the CEO of your business so that you can work on it. Go to theemergecoaching.com and get on the fast track by joining the Business Liberation System. To get there even faster, click on the show notes and it will take you right to where you need to be. Success should bring freedom, not frustration. Let's get back to the episode.
Something when we were talking earlier today that like hit me, and it was when you were talking about the book you're reading and you were talking about the Pringle effect, right? And something you mentioned was like when you first wake up in the morning, like you reach for your phone, like what's the first thing you're looking at, right? And how many times, at least for me, like how many times is that like Facebook or Instagram? Like maybe because there's a notification, maybe just because it's habit, but that like hit me hard because I'm like, okay, the first thing you do when you wake up, the first thing you consciously or I guess subconsciously do is gonna set the table for your entire day.
Mm-hmm.
And the days are what make the weeks, and the weeks are what makes the month, and the month is what makes the year, right?
Yes.
And so the daily habits, the daily intentions are so important because if that's what's setting the table for the day, and that's what, you know, at the beginning of the day, you're subconsciously telling your mind, like, this is the most important thing today because it's the first thing I'm giving my attention to. It's the first thing I'm allowing into my, you know, neurology today. That's powerful.
Yes.
When you said that, I was like, dang, like that really impacted me. And then if you take that and break it up into each category of your life, right? So what's the first thing, thought, intention, whatever that you're putting into your relationship? What's the first thought or intention that you're putting into your professional life, or, you know, your life as a parent, or whatever it is, right? Like the first thought, intention, action, word, whatever it is going to set the table and set the reality of the whole day.
Ooh, I've got a good one here.
That hits me hard.
But like, let's think about the nights when the kids are not sleeping. Like we ran into that a few.
Oh my gosh.
And
for like a week straight, I was like, are we ever like, do we have a newborn? Like, what is happening?
But do you remember, like, I come downstairs, you're sitting on the couch, you look exhausted, and I looked at you and I said, we have a moment right now to reframe how we want this day to be. Now, I'm not saying this as like a look at me, I'm so great. This was just a pivotal moment for us. We looked at it and we said, let's reframe what we want this day to look like and how we are going to get through this day in a way that is what we want. And I'll tell you what, we designed it, we made it happen, and it was a great day. Yes. A
simple shift in our focus and energy, and it was a great day.
Right.
Sure, like at some point I think both of us were like, well, I hit a wall, like,
yeah,
let's get through the day, right? But because we like didn't sleep the night before.
Right.
But
2 hours of sleep is not healthy.
I don't thrive on 2 hours of sleep. I don't thrive on interrupted sleep.
Yeah.
You know. I don't know. It's such a mental thing. Like if I can go to sleep and then just wake up,
yeah,
I I love that. That
Right.
just feels good to me.
It feels good to you. But then the nights like when you don't, it then becomes a conscientious effort
Yeah.
to reframe it.
Yeah.
Right? Like think
And
about
recognizing that like you're in charge, you have the tools. So once again, like what is it that is going to set you up for success? Like
Yeah.
that same morning, you're like, okay, do you need a nap today? Because if you need a nap, let's design right now how we're going to make that happen to set
Right.
us both up for success. And you're like, you know, if you need a nap, let's talk about when I can be available to help with the kids so that you can get a nap, and like talking about these things, right? And at the end of the day, ended up not needing the nap and just being able to like pull off of that mental energy and the energy of like doing what I did want to do that day, right?
Yeah.
And it was great, but sitting down and just saying, okay, like it is what it is. Here's the situation. What are we supposed to learn from this? And now how do we move forward and create the most ideal situation possible out of what we're dealing with right now? And I think a lot of times it's just easy to fall into like the second nature of like, this sucks. Like I was up all night. Like I'm tired. This is crappy. It's just going to be a crappy day. I'm just going to be tired all day. It's just going to suck. And that's exactly what will happen. If that's what you've decided and if that's what you believe, that's exactly what will happen. And it will be a crappy day. You'll be tired. You'll feel that negative energy with you all day long. And for some reason, I think sometimes that feels good to us because we're addicted to that, like that energy, right? Until we learn to shift it. But, and even sometimes it's just like, it's like that, I guess you could say like the hero's journey, right? Where it's like, oh man, I had such a rough night and now I just have to like make it through the day. And I don't know. It's just like this weird like desire to be miserable.
Well, and I think it's unconscious habits sometimes too.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's
For sure.
natural to complain about getting things that you want but
Yeah.
did not get. And I think that
Man, complaining is such a drug.
oh, it is. But I think like let's look at this in your business, right? Since we talk about our life a lot, but like in our business, let's just say for example, you have that one employee that consistently makes the same mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your reaction to that mistake is a habit. It is a unconscious, in some cases it could be unconscious, right? Which then sets up you for frustration as a business owner, right? So let's say that you have someone and it's just the same thing over and over. They make the same mistake. Well, number one, that's feedback in your business that you haven't addressed yet or learned through, right? Because it's happening for you, not to you.
Mm-hmm.
But then number two, you get to set the tone on how you react. And then does that affect the rest of the day? What is that balance in your life? And like going back and tying to the idea of balance, like we kind of got off on this little tangent about reframing and like specifically going after things you want, but it comes back down to this, like you have intent behind everything. And there is like, you need to be able to communicate effectively what you want that will set you up for this day. If you don't know what will set you up for the day and you're just like, well, I think like if I went on this trip with my friends, that would set me up for the day. Or I think that like, I guess I could throw a quick random party at our house because that would set me up for the day. But it's like, it's just inconsistent. Like you really don't know what's going to set you up or not. That's the bigger problem, is you don't know the micro things that will add up to you having a fantastic day, as opposed to like you're just searching for some like big highlight reel or like this big event, or maybe it's like pounding your schedule with all these different things thinking that that's going to give you fulfillment, when realistically none of that gives you fulfillment. It is essentially just wasted time in the moment, in the present moment. Like I think about the McLaren. I've shared this story so many times. When we bought that thing, it was a moment in time where there was fulfillment and excitement because it was like, yes, I bought this, look at me. But then that moment in time came and went, and 9 months later we're buying a Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that was in the moment, I wanted to feel a certain way. I wanted to feel successful, whatever the case, there was intent behind doing it. And then 9 months later, it's like, oh, I guess I'm getting a new car because this just doesn't give me
the
that
purpose
high.
and the value for it shifted. And
right.
But
I didn't understand. So then I go make this decision in the moment of like feeling a certain way because my needs were not being met as far as my micro day-to-day. So I go make a dramatic decision and do something that ultimately we end up, backpedaling anyways 9 months later. And so I want you to just consider, like, life is designed around what you want, like working towards the things that you want, not what you don't want. So as you understand the things that you want and you work towards that and you implement your relationship, your financial situation, your business, whatever it is, and you start working towards the things you want, that's when you start to find more balance and more happiness in your life. And you wake up feeling a sense of energy and excitement for the day because you know that you're working towards a phenomenal relationship with your wife and kids, a phenomenal business that's going to be multiplying and continuing to run for generations or whatever the case. Or you get to wake up knowing that you're working towards feeding 1,000 families, whatever your goal or ambition is, that's what you're working towards every day because you have the set plan. You know it in your heart that it's possible for you.
Yeah. And if you have that balance, like how much more possible is it for you to accelerate, right?
Yes.
And like I kind of mentioned in the beginning, if a lot of times it becomes more about like implementing systems and processes that empower you to have the balance, right? Because sometimes there's so much on your plate in both aspects that it's like, what is balance?
Right.
There's only so much time in a day. There's only so much energy and effort to be put forth. So how do you leverage and open up more opportunities so that you can focus on and do the things you want? Because that's where you'll feel the balance, is when you're focused on the things that you want in your personal life and in your professional life. So,
yeah, I think
that could look like like hiring someone. That could look like some kind of virtual assistant. That could look like learning how to leverage AI. It could be, hiring someone to do laundry. It could be like hiring a house cleaner. It could be a babysitter or nanny for a few hours a week. Like whatever it is, something that will align with the things that you are trying to do and the life you desire and are creating to help have that balance so that you are not constantly running on burnout. Like, imagine if you, like, I don't know, the thought that came to my mind is like, imagine like your car is on empty and you're burning to like the last mile of gas.
Please use the printer of ink analogy because it's too close to home.
No, that's like too good.
That's too good.
I can't make that a negative thing.
Okay.
I'll tell you what he's talking about in a second after I finish my thought. But so imagine you are like, you're running on empty and you're like, oh, I got 5 more miles. Like there's a gas station right here, but I'm going to make it to the next one. And then you get to the gas station and you put like $5 of gas in. And you go until you literally can't drive anymore. And then you go get another $5 of gas. And then another $5. And you're just like constantly on burnout. You're wasting so much time than if you would have just got the $50 of gas rather than stopping 10 times for $5 of gas, right? Like, don't run on burnout all the time. The amount of time, energy, and effort that is wasted in that mode is insane. So if you can find the passions, find what drives you, find what motivates you, and then figure out how to leverage the other things or how to delegate or, how to empower yourself to be going on full throttle, full tank of gas all the time, right? Yeah. And that's so empowering. I know this doesn't relate to you, Jesse, because you drive an electric car. No. But the rest of us, no, I'm kidding.
Well, hold on. Because what you're describing here is the plug of the ad that we just played in the middle of the podcast, essentially saying that there's a business liberation system, right?
There's an ad in the middle of the podcast?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just something.
I didn't know
something
that.
We're inviting you to consider is the business liberation system
is fantastic. So I'm really glad that you guys got to hear about that
and try it out for your personal life. But really, what it is exactly what you said. It's all the stuff that you don't want to do that's taking away from your expertise, the thing you want to do, and it's eliminating those things. Yeah. And figuring out, do you automate, delegate, or eliminate completely from your schedule so that you can get back to the things that you want to do? It's time for you, the message of the business liberation system, to become the CEO of your life or of your business and stop being an employee.
And giving your best self to the people and projects that mean the most to you in your life, because you're doing yourself zero favors by running on burnout all the time and sacrificing everything to, do the things you need to do. You're not doing yourself or the people that you love the most any favors. In fact, likely you're giving them your seconds, right? You've all heard that term. Like, you are literally giving them a little bit that's left of you.
Dang.
It's like, who wants that? No one wants that. Like, when you are with the people that you love most, they want you for you. They want all of you. They want the best of you. So stop giving them the rest of you. Give them the best of you.
I like that. That's a good quote there.
That was really good.
That was good. Could you imagine if I just walked in the door and was like, you know what, Ambry, I'm so flustered with work. I'm overstimulated with all these thoughts and things that are going through my mind. Quite frankly, I'm sorry, but you're just going to get whatever's left of me. That's pretty sexy. Isn't it? You'd be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's so hot, Jesse.
I'd roll my eyes and be like...
You'd be like, are you kidding me? You're going to be like, you bringing this sloppy seconds into this house? Like, I am your wife, right?
Yeah.
Like, I am your spouse. I am the most important thing in your life. So you say, and you're going to come home and just be sloppy seconds? Yeah. No, screw that. Right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, you wouldn't go and present that to your spouse, but sometimes
and try to make it sound like a good thing.
And try to make it sound like a good thing, but your actions.
All day I've been working so hard, and like,
oh yeah,
not that your spouse shouldn't care about that, right? Like that's, I mean, all of these efforts are admirable and amazing, right? But you deserve to be giving your best in all of these aspects rather than the burnout version of you. That's all I wanted to get at.
And that's how you achieve the work-life balance, right? Is you essentially go in there and you figure out what are the things that you truly enjoy doing that give you life.
Yeah.
Right? Understanding that if you were to do those things every single day, you can't help but think that you'd be a better person, that your spouse would look at you and find you more attractive, that the things that you feel like you need in your life would actually start to just be unfolded unto you. And you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's all I need to do is do the things I enjoy doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like today, I remember sitting in the car with you and I was just like ecstatic. I was just like full of energy. And you were like, well, how was your day? And I'm like, it was great. I was able to do all these things and I'm feeling so passionate and I'm feeling amazing. And then at one point you're like, are you tired? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, actually, no. Like, I'm going to reject that. I feel great. And, like understanding that it was because I was doing all the things I wanted to do today.
Yeah.
None of it had to do.
It's powerful.
None of it was what I had to do. It was, I truly want to be here.
Okay, I found a way to use the printer analogy.
I know, the printer analogy is
awesome. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So we have this printer that in our home that's fantastic. And we've had this printer for how long?
3 years.
3 years? We've had this printer for 3 years. How many times do you think we have replaced the ink in this printer in 3 years?
None.
How many times, Jesse?
None.
0 times.
None.
And it's the funniest thing because, like, I mean, we don't use this printer every day, right? Like, it's not like we're printing stuff all the time, but like we use it like a decent amount, right?
A decent amount.
And sometimes it's for 1 or 2 quick prints. Sometimes it's for like 50 sheets of something, like whatever. Yeah. Well, this printer for like, I don't even know how long.
Let's say
like
a year.
at least a year has been like crucially low on ink or whatever, like whatever it says.
It's begging. It's like,
it's
please.
like, I am dying. Like, I have nothing left. Like, just give me the ink. Like, and it's basically like warning you, like, I might not work the next time you try to print something. Like, just letting you know.
I love it.
And this printer's literally running on burnout. And like, it's so funny because now it's just kind of like a like game of like, oh, like what's like, I printed something yesterday that was like color. It was like a Halloween flyer, and it prints out and like the orange is all vibrant. It looks great. And I'm just like, this thing has been out of ink for a year and it's like still printing. But it's like that guess of like, oh, is this gonna work or is it not? Like, I mean, it's not really fun because you're like, I have no idea if this is gonna work, because there have been times when when I've gone to print something and it is like a disaster.
Yeah.
There's like ink marks all over it. Like it just looks like it came out of the slaughterhouse. Like it's awful. And so where I'm going with that is like, don't be that printer in your life, right? Where people are just guessing like, is this going to work? Is it not? Like, am I going to get...
How far can I push you?
am I going to get the vibrant ink or am I going to get the slaughterhouse? Like,
Okay.
what's
I could imagine if I came home and that was your thoughts, like, I'm going to see how much out of Jesse I can get. I know he's dead and he's like crucially low on energy.
Let's see if I can print a full color sheet of paper and get vibrant orange.
Let's see if I can get a full-fledged Jesse in the moment here. Like, seriously, like these analogies, literally, like, ask yourself, is this me? Right?
Yeah.
Like,
if
are
that's
you the printer?
Then like there are things you can do. There is light at the end of the tunnel that you are stuck in, because it feels frustrating. It feels hopeless. It feels like, I mean, what more can I do? There's only so much of me I can give. There's only so much time in a day. There's only so much emotional energy, physical energy that I can give, right? And so what, like, it's like you hit this block and you're like, I can't see where to go next. Like, I'm just at this big rock wall and I don't know what to do. And so we're just here to tell you that, like, we're going to hand you the sledgehammer and let you break through that wall, because it's possible.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that wall is life. It's enjoyment. It's fun.
Yes.
It's, enjoying being around your family and kids again. Sure, there's moments where you're like, oh my gosh, but it's no longer every minute of every day that you just feel helpless, that you feel like you are giving to your max every second of the day.
Well, I think, once again, just to kind of like close this, is there are times you feel like a CEO where you're in there and everything's chumming along and it's looking great and you're predicting growth and scalability in your life and your business. And then there are times when you feel like an employee doing something you don't want to do, right? We've all been there. We've all worked a job before that we totally hated. And every single day you wake up and you're like, I hate this job. And you continue. It's the same person. And you're like, I'm going to leave this job and I don't want to talk to this manager because this manager's a, self-egotistical douche, like whatever whatever it is, right? But you can be the CEO of your life or you can be an employee. And the best part about it is it's your choice. The only difference between the employee and the CEO is the employee believes that this is their hand that they've been dealt. These are the things they have to do. Where the CEO gets to look at it and say, how do we make a change?
Yeah. And sometimes, like, yes. Yep.
Right.
I agree.
And the only thing that's keeping you from being the CEO is the thoughts that are going on in your mind or your inability to look at it and just assess it and say, I need to let this go. We share the example of laundry. Like, we did laundry for months. I would hear you complain, I hate laundry. Laundry's the worst. It's the bane of my existence every single week.
It could be because I just didn't have a good enough system in place, right? Like,
could be.
Maybe there is a system that I could have implemented that would have lifted that, that fog a little bit.
Maybe there was an automation that you could have handled. But in this case, we delegated it. And now you're like, gosh, laundry's awesome. Right?
I do like one load of laundry a week now instead of like 12. Not really.
Yeah, but that's like small tweak.
Literally 5 loads of laundry.
Yeah.
Which to some people may not sound like a lot.
But that small
tweak. But for me, that
tweak,
felt like a lot.
That small tweak changed the entire outcome.
And now it's like every Monday when I put the bag of laundry on the porch, or when you do, I'm like, I did the laundry.
Yes. But like,
and then it comes back to the porch folded and I'm like, sure, got to put it away, but it's folded. It's like literally ready to just go in the closet.
It's done.
And I'm just like, oh, laundry sucks.
Yeah.
Man.
Imagine that in your business. So imagine if there was just something you could set out on the side right now that you're doing that you just cannot stand, but you're doing it and you just set it out there. And it comes back neatly folded, ready to go. And all you have to do is one small task instead of taking hours on one thing, just being able to, turn around and post it. I can tell you from a personal point of view, like, I was editing my own videos for the longest time. I didn't understand editing. It never looked as good as it could have with someone. And I told myself, you know what, I got to edit videos. And I would spend 2 or 3 hours a day editing videos. That was not in my highest and best use of my time, nor did I enjoy it. And so I enjoyed posting the video on YouTube. I enjoyed recording the video for YouTube, but I hated editing it. And the minute I recognized and said, you know what, this freaking sucks, I need to make a change, I found someone that could edit videos for $5. Like $5 of video.
Like, you waste more than $5 in the, like, 30 seconds of negative energy, if it's even that small, that you feel towards the project.
That's correct.
Like,
and so I looked at it and I'm like, okay.
Not to mention the time you spend on the project.
Right.
But just the mental energy of hating the project.
Right.
Is worth more than $5.
Well, and when you value yourself as someone that's making, let's say, $50 an hour, that's not what I value myself at, but let's say that's what you value yourself at. That's 1/10 of your like time. And so if you're spending 3 hours, that's $150 that you're leaving on the table to do something a $5 person would do for you. It's costing you money. Your inability to manage your work and your life balance and get on track with the things that you want to do is costing you more money. It's costing you more time. And let's be honest, the more you're doing those things that you don't want to do, it's not any fun. Therefore, it's time to just take control of your life again, recognize these things, and start working on it. Am I automating, delegating, or eliminating, and balancing the life and designing it the way I want to live it so that every day I wake up feeling full of energy and excited to work on the things that I'm passionate about. And as you accomplish that in your work-life balance, everything else that is important to you as well will start to fold in place. You'll see more growth in your business faster. It just compounds on each other because energy is contagious. And so with that being said, I just
love it.
I mean, I could go on over and over about this because I've spent the last 2 years learning and actually living through it. You and I both have, but just want to say that it is possible for you. All it is you making the conscientious effort to actually look at it and address it. And you can do that through the Business Liberation System. And you can click on the link below in the show notes and take a look at it. But with that being said, just want to say thank you so much for listening
Thank you.
to the Matrimonial Merger podcast. If this is your first time joining us, thanks for sticking with us. I know that Amber and I can be quirky with our analogies about printers and gas, but it's the truth. Those were great analogies that really explain, yes, take a bow. But those are great analogies that explain what some of us are doing. And although they may be simple, it's the truth and it resonates with you. So just want to say thank you so much. Please join us next week as we talk even more and dive deeper into how to manage work, life, and business, creating more time, more money, more fun. Have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in to the Matrimonial Merger podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it informative and entertaining. If you did, we would love it if you could share this podcast with your friends and family who might also be interested in topics related to marriage and relationships. And if you have a few minutes, please consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us improve the show and reach more listeners like you. Thanks again for listening to the Matrimonial Merger. We'll be back soon with another episode.